Man, I needed the DJ to keep going. Yeah, you guys give it up for DJ Easy E in the house today, right?
So, my name is Hugh Breland, by the way. I'm the lead pastor of Historic Church. And first thing I wanted to do was just to say thank you, specifically to the team here at High and Tight Barbershop and Bar. I love the idea, and I want to celebrate this as what I call a win, okay? Historically, I'll tell you a story. NCAA tournament. Anybody watching the NCAA tournament? Anybody's brackets busted? Yes, everybody's brackets are busted when a 16 beats a 1. So Charles Barkley, terrible. I don't know if you know Charles Barkley, but that's my best Charles I got. That's what I got for you. Charles Barkley and Kenny Smith. Kenny Smith played for the Houston Rockets when they won championships. And they were given some, feedback on the games. And Kenny Smith said something really interesting. Again, he's won championships with the Houston Rockets, and he said this. He said, in order to win a championship, you have to have uncomfortability. Uncomfortability, the ability to get uncomfortable. And I don't know about you, but I've never seen a church in a bar. And rarely, if ever, do you see a church and a bar collaborating to say, hey, we're going to try to make a difference for our city. We're willing to do this. We're willing to get uncomfortable. In fact, it kind of sounds like the start of a bar joke, right? Like a pastor, an atheist, and an ex-con walked into a bar, right? And the bartender said, welcome to the Historic Church. Because the reality is that I'm very well aware there's an ex-con here, there's an atheist here, there's a lot of different labels in the house today. And what I'm so thankful for, and the thing that I'm celebrating, is that when people from all races, all backgrounds, all perspectives, all socioeconomic statuses, all labels come together, and they say, I'm willing to come to the uncomfortable, the uncomfort table. That's when historic happens. You can actually begin to shape change when you're willing to take those type of historic steps. I like to say it this way, that people's boldest moments become their best moments. And when we are boldly willing to come into a place where, quite frankly, bartenders tell churches, you can't come in here. And churches tell bartenders, you can't come in here. You're not allowed, you're excluded. And so we exclude each other, and then we don't ever actually collaborate to do things like for the Stew Pod or children and youth programs who actually need it. and so when we're willing to cross these cultural lines, literally people are willing to leave the comfort table, the comfortable, and move to the uncomfort table, the uncomfortable. That's when we actually create history, and we actually begin to take not just, nice Instagrammable, tweetable quotes about doing stuff. Honestly, I didn't give my life. I didn't leave everything that I have and give all my money. And if everybody wants to give me any money, I'd be happy, because I've given all my money to start a movement of people that just say, I'm not looking at the lines and the labels. I'm looking at the table, and I'm saying I'm willing to be uncomfortable. And I think if we're willing to be uncomfortable, we can come into spaces and cross lines and be like, hey, so you're an atheist. I happen to love Jesus. How about we go do something for our city together? Good? All right. And I think we begin to then have conversations and move and shape change that will be historic. In fact, I get the question a lot, what is historic church? And my answer is quite frankly, always, historic church is a community first, church second church. A community first, church second church. driven by a very clear mission to love like Jesus over and over again. Because I am convinced of this, that a non-judgmental, consistent love over and over again begins to shape change. It actually changes the trajectory of not just people, it shapes people, which shapes cities, which shape the world. And I don't know if you've noticed lately, but Dallas is becoming one of the hottest cities in the planet. A city, a world-shaping city. But what I'm hoping is that we can, through a consistent, non-judgmental love, begin to, again, open the doors and do things like church in a bar. I also say this: historic church is designed for two primary audiences. And something tells me that you're here because you probably have been in one of these audiences or feel like you're in this audience even now, and that is this: those who have been marginalized by society, or those who have felt excluded by church. And now all of us may not have felt that or feel that right this second, but two primary audiences for us. And that's why, for example, we have partnered with the Stew Pot Children and Youth Program. Because these people are paying attention to kids that have been, quite frankly, overlooked by society. I'm venturing to guess that a lot of us in the room don't even know what the Stew Pot is and the amazing work they're doing. And that's why, hopefully, we can partner with them and say, hey, let's affect change. Let's pay attention to those nobody's paying attention, the least, the last, the lonely, the marginalized, the kids that don't have the same opportunities, and they really don't. The kids that they don't even know about college. They don't even know about a career. They're not thinking that way. They're never exposed to it. I love the story. I got to meet with some of the leaders of Stew Pot, and Suzanne is here from the Stew Pot. Wave, Suzanne. Yeah. Holla. All right, so anyways, she's like, you're weird. She knows I am weird. That's all right. But she told me a story about a kid named Lewis who immigrated from Mexico when he was in third grade, like 9 years old. And so this kid and his family, his two siblings, are there, and they're here in the city of Dallas, like don't know a lick of English, just here. And the Stew Pot reaches out to the school that he and his siblings end up going to, and Lewis starts going to the Stew Pot. Well, you know what they do at the Stew Pot? They love like Jesus over and over again. So every time Lewis and his siblings would come, there would be volunteers and staff there at the Stew Pot, and they would just keep pouring into these kids. Well, Lewis kept coming back all the way through middle school, all the way through high school. He actually earned a scholarship through the Stew Pot, went to college, didn't just go to college, graduated from college, and is now working for BMW of Dallas. You can actually still go visit him. He started in 2014. He's just been advancing. But he literally has written back to the Stew Pot and said, quite frankly, none of this happens without the Stew Pot. I don't probably end up going to college. I wasn't exposed to that. I don't pursue this pathway for my life. The trajectory of his life was shaped by people that were paying attention to those who were not getting paid attention to. And so I like to say there is power then in this over and over love. In fact, I like to say it this way, and if you get to know me, hang around long enough, and you come to all the other historic stuff at times, you'll notice that I like to kind of say different phrases. And so this is a phrase that I like to use. There is greatness in sameness. There is greatness in sameness. Okay? In fact, I was hanging out with a friend of mine who grew up in South Dallas. He actually went to school and would walk after school on MLK. MLK. Malcolm X goes down to MLK. So he would walk on MLK every day. And so he walked past these guys every day that were wearing blue, And they would just be standing there across the street, and he noticed them, and he noticed they kind of looked like, man, they were kind of like family, like brothers, and they seemed to, love each other. And so he would walk by them every day. And of course, not unlike 100,000 other kids in DISD right now, his mom worked till 8 p.m. because she functioned basically like a single mom. So after school, he was unsupervised. His dad would randomly show up at the house, like just randomly. So this kid is searching for who's going to be my family, who's going to consistently love me over and over, who's going to pay attention to me. So one day, he sees these guys in blue every day, right? So one day, he just crosses the street. And if you knew this guy, you would know he's pretty bold. But he walks across the street, and he's just like, "What's up?" And they look at him like, "Are you crazy? Do you know who we are?" And he said, "Well, I may be crazy, but I just figured you guys look like family, so would you accept me?" And they were like, "So you really want to get down with this?" For all my white people in the house, you really want to do this? And they're like, "Yeah." Or he says, "Yeah." And they literally tell him, "Okay, well then, let us beat you up for 5 minutes. We're just going to beat you up." So he joined the Crips that day and was willing, so longing for a consistent over and over love in his life, that he joins. And it was interesting because I was telling him about the vision behind Historic Church and what we wanted to do, and how I told him, I said, "Hey, we are actually going to be a community first, young people empowering. We want to pour into them, influence them, love on them, pay attention to them. We're going to do free camps during the summer, basketball and soccer camps. And by the way, they're coming together. It's really awesome. And if you want to, be a part, just let us know. But we're going to do these free camps, and we're going to partner with programs like the Stew Pod and Trinity River Mission, and we want to extend after-school programs for kids. And, we've got internships that are going to be happening, residency programs going to be happening. Like, we've got all this cool stuff that's going to be happening because we want kids to know that they got a family they can count on and that they're going to be empowered to do stuff that they never dreamed of doing." He was like, "Hugh, that's dope." White people, that's awesome. And so he said, "That's dope." And then he said, "Hugh, I want you to know that if Historic would have been there when I was searching, it would have changed the trajectory of my life." And he said, "Don't be surprised if these kids come and hold on and never let go." And I said, "Oh, cool. So you think they're going to like these camps, and they're going to like the after-school programs, and they're going to like what we're doing? So you think there's going to happen, right?" And he goes, "No, Hugh, you're not listening to me. They are going to physically hold on to you and not let go because they have not ever tasted and seen that type of love or those type of opportunities." How many times have you tasted and seen a church and a bar collaborating for a children's and youth program? That is why I always come back to the mission, to love like Jesus over and over again. Because the way we like to say it, love is not a weekend activity. It's a daily priority. Let me say it another way. Serving is not a weekend activity. It's a daily priority. Or let me say it another way. Jesus, and for people that have been around church, Jesus is not a weekend activity. He is a daily priority. That's why we don't say we follow Historic Church. We follow and we want to love like Jesus. Because it's a daily priority for us. So if there's greatness in sameness, then change, the key to change is more of the same. And I know some of you are like, well, but isn't there a bad kind of sameness? And yes, there is. There's a very unhealthy kind of sameness. And so that's what gives me a little reticence to even share this today. But hey, I'm gonna spell out a few of the unhealthy ways to do sameness for you. I just wrote down a few, and then we'll just talk about the real sameness that we came to hear about. So settling sameness. I call it settling sameness. Like when you just say, I'm gonna settle for the status quo. I'm just gonna believe that I'm just settled into the fact that I really can't affect change in this community. I'm gonna settle into the fact that I'd rather be comfortable than actually profitable to my city. I'd rather be comfortable than actually, cross a line. When you just settle, a lot of teams in the NCAA tournament will play to win, and some teams will play not to lose. When you settle, you play not to lose. I don't have time to live a life to play not to lose, personally. Stupid sameness. I call it stupid sameness. Now, if you're offended by that, well, there's other churches. But anyways, so here's the stupid sameness. Touch the stove. Ow. Touch the stove. Ow. Touch the stove. Ow. Like, that's stupid, right? Why would we be that kind of sameness? But can I go ahead and admit to you, I've been working on this vulnerability thing. Like, I'm a dude, number one, and I'm very shy, number two. I'm an introvert, number three. Like, I could give you a million reasons why I don't want to be this vulnerable right now, but I'm going to be. So there are thousands of foster kids all over Dallas that are aging out. What does that mean? That means they reach this age 17, 18, and they actually are kicked out of the system. Like, you can't be in a foster house after that. So you're just out. You've been told, perhaps for the last 17 to 18 years of your life, that you're not really worth hanging around for. So I've heard about foster kids aging out for years. I'm a pastor. I've heard about it for years. I haven't done anything about it for years. That's stupid sameness. Like, how many times do I need to hear about this and just think, well, I guess the government's taking care of it. I guess there's a White House in Washington that's taking care of this. Are you kidding me? So, personally, I'm just like, hey, now in my life, I'm paying attention. I'm not going to do the stupid sameness. I'll get a little more personal, not with myself, but with some of you probably in the audience. So another example of stupid sameness, because I talk to a lot of young people. Y'all just got to know my heart. I love young people, but older teenagers and young 20s, 30s, single people, they'll come up to me and be like, man, Pastor Hugh, I just want a meaningful relationship. And I just can't seem to find a meaningful relation. I can't find the right guy, the right gal, whatever. And I'm like, okay, where are you looking? Well, I keep swiping right. I'm like, okay, so that Tinder is the world's largest disposable relationship factory in human history. It's built to be a disposable relationship factory. And you keep going back and swiping right and swiping right. And you come back to me and you say, I feel empty. I feel less than. It's not meaningful. And I'm like, yeah, so touch the oven. Ow. Touch the ow. And some of us in here or maybe we've moved beyond that, but let's just all recognize that we've got an oven moment in our lives. And we've all got that. And so pay attention. And you came to church today to hear don't be stupid, right? And then there's what I call scared sameness. And I hope that many of you have been convinced just by being here this morning that it's okay to take a risk. But scared sameness is that unwillingness to take a risk, unwillingness to have a conversation, unwillingness to be vulnerable. Unwillingness to say, hey, just admit to yourself, I don't have, like I would tell you right now, who have you eaten with in the last 10 days that doesn't look like you? Just think about it. that's either not the same socioeconomic status or the same color as you. What are we doing intentionally to not be scared of these things, to not affect change? Which is the healthy kind of sameness. The whole point of why we're here. Greatness is sameness, and it's sameness that I call shape change sameness. Shape change sameness is these patterns that you repeat that lead to change. So the question of the day, like this is the big question for everybody in the room and those of you watching on Facebook Live and everywhere else. Hi, and we love you too. I don't know why you're not here, but anyway, so are your patterns helping you or hurting you? I'm not trying to get in your grill. The question's getting in your grill. Are your patterns helping you or are they hurting you? You know, I grew up, some of you know, I grew up playing basketball. I tell people all the time, Michael Jordan taught me the jab step. I got to go to North Carolina camps. I got to go all over the world playing basketball. And I played at Baylor. And you know, one thing I know about basketball is this. If you practice makes... Thank you! Practice does make better, bro. You kind of spoiled my illustration because you're so cute. You're so cute. Like, that's just, I don't know. I never wanted to be called cute, so you're so cool. But practice makes perfect is what a lot of people say, but that's not the reality. What reality is if you practice a broke shot, it becomes a permanent broke shot. Practice makes permanent. Practice makes permanent. And if you're broke, that's not helpful. That pattern is hurting you. If you're practicing that same pattern of, again, eating with the same people, not having conversations, not challenging yourself to serve, not challenging yourself to get outside of your comfort zone, all those patterns, it's like practice makes permanent. So you got to plant yourself in the proper patterns, right? In fact, I say it this way because most of us want to live a fruitful life. Most of us don't walk up to each other and say, man, I hope my life counts for nothing. No. It's like, I hope that I actually have some fruit in my life. Like, I want to be fruitful. But I'll say it this way. If you resist the frequency, you'll miss the fruit. It's the frequency of these same patterns. Because guess what? Many of us want the result without the routine. We want the reward without the routine. So we want the reward of being able to say that foster kids are getting taken care of and that these kids in Dallas that are, you know, marginalized and that people that are, you know, excluded from church don't feel like that the church has anything to offer them. Like we have this idea in our minds that, oh, that would be awesome to help those people. But we don't do anything routinely to actually affect that change. And in fact, I brought my jersey here, or a jersey. This is a Walker Zimmerman jersey. I don't know if any of you follow FC Dallas. He's now traded. Woo woo! He's traded to the LA football club, LAFC. But I can put this jersey on. It would probably look good on me. Ain't gonna lie. But it doesn't make me an MLS Major League Soccer player. It doesn't make me he was like drafted, I think, number 5 in all of MLS. He was like rookie of the century or whatever. I mean, he's all these things. But the reason why Walker has achieved what he's achieved is because he was willing to do the routine. He wanted the result, and he wanted the routine that goes for that result. It's interesting. There's a story in the Bible, and I'm not going to go too far into it, but so God's people, the Israelites, have been wandering around for about 40 years, hoping to find what they called the promised land. Okay, so I'm not going to go all into that, but they were trying to get to their land, their promised land, their place, their home base, and so they had to go. That's the reward. But they had to go through Jericho, okay? There's just a city named Jericho. And so God told them, their leader Joshua, he said, here's what I want you to do. It's kind of random, like I wouldn't encourage you to do this, like don't walk around buildings randomly. But he said, I want you to walk around the city every day. 7 days, but we'll talk about this, the completion and all that some other time. But I want you to just wake up and just walk around the city. And I don't know in your life what you need to wake up to tomorrow, but that's kind of the big idea is like, hey, what's the routine? What's your walk around? Because a lot of us, we go to the gym and we're like, I'm going to get buff. I'm going to get Instagrammable. And I'm not, so hopefully I haven't broken Facebook by this point. But I want to get Instagrammable, and we work out for 3 days. Everything you do to work out, yoga, anything. And we look in the mirror in 3 days, and we're like, nothing's changed. And so we leave. Or we start a relationship with a person, and after a week or 2 months or 2 years even, of trying to love that person, they're not loving us back, and we're like, you know what, I'm out. And so I come back to the question, are your patterns helping you, or are they hurting you? Are your patterns helping your community, or are they not helping your community? We say we love like Jesus very intentionally, because Jesus was this man, and most of us can get around the idea that Jesus was a physical man. He was here, and he was a man that had a result in mind, and he was a man that was committed to the routine in order to get to that result. And the result that Jesus had in mind was amazing. That result was that he wanted every person in human history to experience non-judgmental, consistent love. He wanted them to taste and see something they had never tasted and seen. An unconditional, non-judgmental, consistent, every day, everywhere, no matter what you did last night kind of love. And he wanted you to experience that love, everybody in the room. He wanted you to experience it so much so that you would then go share that love with someone else. That was his big idea. That was the result he had in mind. And the routine, he knew the routine was going to be hard. He knew the routine would require sacrifice. He knew the routine would take him to places that were uncomfortable, the uncomfort table. He knew that the routine would require him to love people that weren't going to love him back. That would require him to forgive people that didn't even think they needed to be forgiven. That would require him to die for people that didn't even believe that he was a king, a priest, and anything. And it's interesting because Jesus, every day he woke up while he was on earth and said, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to love every single day. And I'm going to go and I'm going to die for you. 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 Over and over. And then he said, and I'm going to love you even when you don't love me. And I'm going to love you even when you don't love me. And I'm going to keep pursuing you even when you're not pursuing me. Because that was Jesus' idea. That was his mission. He paid attention to it. So my hope is that everyone in here, everyone listening today, would consider your patterns, your over and over again, your sameness. And you would ask yourself, is it helping me? And is it helping others? In fact, I love what Paul wrote to Philippians. Okay, so there's a book in the Bible called the Philippians, and that's the church in Philippi. So they're like people probably meeting in a bar, exactly, right? In Philippi, I'm joking. But anyway, so Paul is writing a letter to those people, and here's what he says. He's talking about Jesus. And he's talking to those people, and he says, don't be selfish. Don't try to impress others. Be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Sit down. Oh, sorry. That's Kendrick. All right, so he said, be humble. Thinking of others as better than yourselves. Don't look out only for your own interests. So look out for your interests, but not just for your own interests, but take interest in others too. Have the same attitude as Jesus. Though he was God, he did not think equality with God as something to cling to. Instead, he gave up divine privilege. He humbled himself, took the position of a slave, and was born as a human. When he appeared in human form, he humbled himself in obedience to God and died a criminal's death on the cross. That's what I call a pattern worth following. And that's what Historic Church is all about. So, thank you for being willing to cross the line today to join us, to help, hopefully, to help the stew pot, and to hear about this idea that, hey, we're starting a movement here in Dallas. And we hope to help shape people, help shape cities, help shape the world. I'm going to say a prayer for us right now. And then Chocolate's going to be up, and she's going to give us some helpful thoughts and hints and updates, and then everybody can go have a cocktail and some conversation. So let me pray for us. God, we're so excited to be a crazy group of people. Some of us in this room don't even pray. Some of us in this room don't believe that we can actually talk to you. So that's cool, God. I'm glad that we're all in the room together. I think one thing we all agree on is that a city that loves like your son Jesus is a better city. It's better than hate. It's better than division. It's better than actually anything we could imagine. So God, you've given us this mission, this idea to, hey, go love your city over and over again. So God, as we think today about our own patterns in our own life, challenge us and make us think about, hey, what do I need to do tomorrow morning? What do I need to do differently to help shape change in my own life, in my own circles, and in my own community? So I thank you, God. I thank you, Jesus, for being here present, and thankful for High and Tide, thankful for Stew Pod, and thankful for all these wonderful people here. And it's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Woo! Round of applause. I know I'm breaking my energy. I'm so happy. Get on up here, DJ. Give us some scratching music. I'm ready to get my crunk on. Are y'all ready? Because I'm ready. If you hadn't noticed, I'm ready. Again, thank you, High and Tight, for hosting us. But also, friends, thank y'all for being here. This is uncomfortable. This is my first time hosting a pop-up church in a bar. Yes, I drink. But I'm just saying, it's my first time hosting a pop-up church in a bar, and I am so excited about all of us getting out of our comfort zone, doing something different, experiencing something new, having some real authentic conversations. It is not by accident that you are here. It's just not. I do not believe in accidents or coincidences. You are here. You are called for such a time as this to be here today, to make new friends, to smile, to have a cocktail. The kids are chilling. This is what life is supposed to look like. This is how we do life together. We get up, we throw on our jeans and our shorts and our sweaters, and we come out and we have a good time. We get out of our comfort zone and we serve each other. It starts with this pop-up church. I didn't know what a pop-up church was until Hugh and Holly asked me what I hosted, and I was like, what is a pop-up church? I'm the girl from the hood. I don't know what that is. Can you explain? This is what it is. It's a group of people, a group of friends, not believers or not unbelievers, the atheists, the Jews, the Gentiles, whatever it is. It's just a group of people Loving like Jesus over and over and over again. And I'm just so thrilled right now. Pastor Hugh brought the word, really purged my heart. Yeah, Pastor Hugh. Woo-hoo. So excited to be his friend. So excited for the diversity to be a part of the historic team. And it's not by accident that they said, Chocolate, hey, we want you to be a part of the team as well. And I said, okay, let me pray about it. And God said, yeah, these are the people. They're loving like Jesus. They're down in the community. They're buying me cocktails. I need another one, just saying. Holly. I had one at the start, now I need one at the end. But again, I appreciate you all letting me be your host. I'm going to share just a little bit of information. Just to kind of purge your heart, if I would say. Again, today was just an example of loving like Jesus over and over again. If you do not know anything about the stew pot, I absolutely love the stew pot. I come down and serve sometimes on Wednesdays from outside. I just serve the adults on the outside, just going up talking to them. It's very uncomfortable. I almost went to jail one day. Crazy story. I pulled up at the stew pot, and the police, they pulled up, and they were like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, talking. What does it look like I'm doing? Well, why are you talking to them? Them? Who are them? What are you trying to say? And it's crazy when you try to challenge somebody, because then they don't have the answer to say, they don't have a reply. But if you don't know anything about the stew pot, I hadn't heard of the children's ministry. I learned that. But I encourage you to go online and find out about more information about them. All proceeds today will go directly to serve the children at the stew pot. You can do that. Okay, I'm reading from my card because I've already had my one cocktail from this morning, so but you can do that by purchasing drinks. Every drink purchase, a proceed, I don't know what the proceed, but every drink purchase, a proceed of the sales go directly to the stew pot. We are passing out Connect cards. If you fill out a Connect card, we have our handy dandy, beautiful lady friend that's passing out cards. She'll be back in the back in a minute. But we have an awesome, beautiful brown box on the right-hand corner of the bar. If you fill out a Connect card, my homeboy back there, he's holding it up. Look back there with my homeboy. Okay, he's holding up the brown box. And if you fill out a Connect card, $1 will be donated from Historic Church to the stew pot. Lastly, say you don't drink, but I do. But you say, hey, I want to support the stew pot. Just give. The box is back there. Just give. Any amount. Coins, greenbacks, green is dollars, y'all. Don't matter what it is. Anything that the Lord puts on your heart, just give. Today you can do that. Say you can't give today, but you want to. Go online and give. We're all called. Sometimes we don't come with our pocketbook, right? Because I forget sometimes. But we're all called to give. Also, I would encourage you to fill out the Connect card. We want to keep up with you. We want to say hi. We want to invite you to our next community event. The second card that you have in your hand is all of the events that'll be going around in the community. The next pop-up church, I won't be your host, but I'm just saying.